Hi, I'm Joshua Klinger, so we're ready to go. So I'm going to talk to you today about Google. We brought up search. I'm glad we got into the boring stuff because that's what mine is, also super boring. Unless you're into search engines, if that's a pastime of yours. So the first thing I'd like to start off by saying is Google is the #1 most trafficked website on the internet. If you didn't know, Google is now a verb. So that's important for people to understand in the context of this. I consider search a bit like a map. It's like a map of the internet that you use to get from one place to the next. This is OpenStreetMaps, so this is a site you can go to get a free map, which you don't have a search version of OpenStreetMaps. The way that I look at it, so search engine optimization, what I do for a living, is to get people's websites to be more acceptable for Google and for the other ones like Bing and Yahoo, if you've ever used those. I don't know anybody who does anymore. But so that would be your goal with SEO. It's search engine optimization. It goes beyond just making Google like your page, but doing things to get Google to love your page. And so search is essentially access in this. If you don't show up on the search engine results, people don't go to your site unless you tell them directly. So that's where the map allegory comes into play, is the fact that search is access. So if you're, like that says, if you're not on the map, nobody knows you exist. So the internet's birth was a democracy. You get from one IP to the next. Every IP talks to each other. Every server talks to each other. Whereas search engines are private and for profit. So the situation that comes in with that is that search engines sell your metadata. So search engines sell you a lot of stuff, actually, and other products that they have end up being conflicts of interest with search. So you don't get just search, you get search and the entire business of the search engine you're using, such as Google Food. If you have a restaurant, you might want to sign up for Google Food. Some people might think that's a bit of a conflict of interest. You have the search engine, you search for a restaurant, you have Google Food. It's a conflict of interest, that's what I'm getting at. So then there's also rule obfuscation. So if you were doing SEO, if you were wanted your site to show up on the searches, you would want to follow all their rules, you'd want to know the methodology, and you'd want at least a good idea of the algorithm. All those things are becoming increasingly harder to figure out, which doesn't benefit the average website owner. Poor SEO can make it so you don't show up. So if you don't know the rules, you can't show up on the search. As I said in the last slide, the obfuscation is making that difficult. Negative SEO, which is when somebody throws spam at your website, can actually ruin your website. So it's important to know the rules, and that's why the privatization of search can be detrimental to certain website owners. You have to pray to Google after that, because they're the arbiter of justice. If your site gets taken off the rankings, you have to beg to them to put it back on, and oftentimes they don't listen to you. So this hurts e-commerce stores the most. And that's why it's a niche that not a lot of people understand, because not a lot of people actually get their websites taken off, but when they do, it can be extremely unfair to business owners. So then there's also this entire thing of link juice, which basically the way I'm going to sum it up for this, because it's only 5 minutes, is that the sites that you go to the most, you're going to keep seeing the most. And what that creates is another problem where Amazon, eBay, stores like that, they're going to sit, so link juice, imagine Amazon and eBay are at the bottom. All the search is just coming to them. This is everybody. So what happens is when you want to search for something, Google thinks what's at the bottom, that's the best stuff. That has to be the best stuff. So if you came out with a new product or something new that's changing the world, but you're not on Amazon and you're not on YouTube or something, you're one of these little dots down here. You don't mean anything. You don't show up at all. And that's part of the issue of this privatization, whereas the internet is also growing. So this is going to become a much larger issue over the next 10 to 20 years. And so my conclusion here is not that I want to tell you what to do, like some of the other presenters gave you a call to action. I don't have a call to action. This is also a great talk. I skipped this. This is also a great talk you would want to watch. If you want a longer form version of what I just said, it's more detailed than I'm able to go to in 5 minutes. But I'm not, like I was saying, I'm not going to call to action you. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm just going to say it's something to think about in the future, the next time you use Google or Bing, to think about the money that's involved with each search that you do, and whether or not it's fair for that to be a private search engine, or whether or not we should go more democratic, like the internet was invented for. So.